Okay.
I don't know if any of you can confirm that.
Yeah, hold on.
I'm attempting.
Let me see. I'm about to look.
Oh, we are. We are live.
Perfect. So we are live. People are
Give it a like
joining
for
in.
us. First like.
There we go. We'll give it a few minutes. I don't know why I have that green bar over my head. That is what it is. Maybe that's not even on the live feed.
Yeah, so we are live.
I gotta share the new link to Instagram. If you're joining up, feel free to comment in the chat.
It's just me and Andrew right now, I think.
I
Yeah.
don't see
Well,
anything.
I just closed it just so we can see.
I just have it so we could read comments and stuff. What did your brother join as? What was the name?
Oh, Connor's brother?
Yeah.
It was like something weird. Something to do like a tennis ball or something.
We got four. We got four now.
Oh, we got viewers piling in. Appreciate you guys joining. We're waiting for a few more to join before we start. Tough loss for the Huskies. Very unfortunate.
Gotta make your free throws.
Yeah.
Free throws are the most important part of the game in certain situations, but that's not the main point. There's a lot to discuss about this game.
There were three missed free throws in the entire game, and they all came within 5 seconds of the end of it.
That's what happens.
Oh yeah, I mean what's the curse? Oh man, what game? I think it was Gonzaga where the announcer cursed the guy who was like something ridiculous, like 35 for 35 on the season, and then he missed crunch time.
All I could think of was, you guys remember that Creighton game? It was years ago. Book that went for 40, and RJ Cole missed like 2 free throws.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Oh
and I was
my
like,
God.
We weren't ranked yet, but if we won that game, we would have been ranked for the first time. Like after we were really bad.
The only word to describe it in my head is Grant Williams. We got Grant Williams.
Oh, I'm gonna make both.
I'm gonna make both.
He did not make both. He did
He
not
made
make
neither. We lost.
Oh gosh, that was
UConn gets Grant Williams.
That was awesome.
The Daily Drip Show.
27 comments on Instagram. That's never good.
Oh boy.
Can we leave Alex in Philly?
It's hard to blame. It's hard to blame Alex for that because, well, obviously, if you're a Division I back-to-back national championship basketball player, you should make that.
81.
Think of if he's not here. I mean, you don't have either of those national championships without him, and you don't have that comeback really without a couple of the threes he made. So it's easy to put the blame on him. Do I think he absolutely should have made those free throws? Yes. But I think it's easier to put the blame on him without looking at the stats and the fact that we gave them basically 17 points off of turnovers.
I mean, he hit that three. We were down 6. If he misses that game's probably over there.
Luckily, not a lot of people are agreeing with the fact that we should leave him in Philly, which is a good sign. Because back in the day, there'd be people definitely agreeing.
Oh God, yeah. But I mean, this is a game where I feel like you can learn a lot from it because it's not necessarily a bad loss. You know, when we were talking about this game, I had said that I wouldn't be surprised if we lost. We came out slow, like we didn't. That's a problem. First of all,
this was a trap game and a half because everybody kind of looked at Nova like a joke to start the year, me included. I kind of went in on them in the preview.
I don't blame you though, because the way they've been the past since Neptune got there, pretty much.
They caught fire kind of here in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the chat for the first time. First message is Nova Nation in all caps, which is fun.
That was to be expected.
Please don't blame AK. No one played well. We're not blaming him. We're
not blaming. caravan.
You could never blame a whole loss on
No, especially that was like our fourth or fifth
one person.
look of like that possession. That doesn't
I bl
Yeah.
happen.
I blame it on the 6 minutes of Amon Noel. I'm just
No, I don't think Ahmad should. No, that'd be
I'm just
even
kidding.
more insane. But
I'm
we
just
got
kidding.
9 people in here. I think we can start really breaking down this game after just chatting. I'm sure you're all well aware. You can see the score there. Nice new graphics by me. I'll pat myself on the back. 68-66. Huskies, they were down double digits again. You can't come back from down double digits every single game. They did it against Providence, but part of that was the home crowd behind them and Providence not being that good of a team. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but they're just not that good without Bryce Hopkins. So that was kind of expected. This one, they did come back, which stings a little more. If they were down 12 and ended up losing by 12 or 14, it's whatever. But the fact that they came back, got it to free throws where you can take the tie or take the lead, missed both Alex Caravan, just really unfortunate. But we're not too upset, I feel like, at least the vibes here on this show. I mean, we don't expect to lose this game, but it's Villanova on the road. Nova ended up being betting favorites, I believe, by a point or two. It's not like a crazy upset, but I don't know. Without Liam McNeely, the way they fought at their on-campus arena, I'm not too upset.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a good point. But at the same time, like if you do this, if you do what we've done the last two games and start slow and work your way back, you can't expect that, oh, the first half we only scored 25 points and 27 points in the last two first halves, but we scored 60 and whatever in the second half. We're just going to come back. If you're on the road against St. John's or Marquette, they're going to bury you early in the second half. It's going to get to 20, and it's not going to happen. So we can't become content with starting off slow and just, oh, yeah, we'll come back. It's no problem, because that's not going to happen every time. And especially with these big games like that away, being late in the season, you're going to run out of gas. And it's going to happen in March as well. You get down to a really good team, a team that's probably going to be better than you. They're going to bury you, and we're going to lose, and that's going to be that. So I feel like this game is, yes, you can learn a lot from it, but there's no moral victories in this game. That's what I want to start with. I don't think there's any moral victories in this game.
I think there's a few. I feel like there's a big moral loss though, and I feel like it's definitely the bench. With McNeely out, you kind of needed some guys to step up, and I feel like you definitely got that out of Stewart. Someone commented about talking up Stewie, so I'll do that for his second 6 and 9. He kind of fit right in there pretty perfectly, in my opinion. He was one of the main reasons that we were able to mount that comeback and keep us competitive. Obviously, AK hit that big shot at the end, kind of keeping it close. But yeah, Stewart. I mean, this is why he should have been starting the whole time. I never really agreed
Mm-hmm.
with that. With that Ross
Yeah.
starting, that Ross is ahead of him. I never believed that. It's like Ross is an athlete, but we've mentioned over and over just like the raw talent that he is, and he's not ready to start yet. It's not close. With Stewart, you can tell that there's much more poise there,
And
and
with Stewart, he was surprisingly to me at least the guy tasked with guarding Eric Dixon. And in the first half, I don't think Dixon scored on Stewart. In the second half, a completely different story. He got like 3 or 4 and ones. He's a very tough player to match up with and guard. I mean, I forget. I should have the box score in front of me. He ended up nearly 30, which is remarkable
yeah,
because he
yeah, I
had a
think he had
very
23.
slow.
I got it up.
Yeah, 23. He had a very slow first half, only 5 points, or maybe 8. I forget which. I think it was 5 because he had 3 right out of the break. But yeah, Stewart held his own against him. I mean, we were doubling Dixon every time he touched the ball, which is good. You can't double him when he doesn't have the ball because doing the math, you're leaving a guy wide open, which you don't want to do. But yeah, I feel like I said in the preview, I mean, try to limit him to under 30 and you have a chance, and they did. And they had a chance, just couldn't convert, unfortunately.
Like I said, the bench, McNeely not being there, you need some guys to step up, and you get 0 from Mahaney, 3 from Russ, 6 from Reed, and 0 from Noel. It just felt like something was missing. I mean, even if Mahaney went out there and got like 6, I mean, that would have changed the game a lot. You need some
There's
guys
still,
to
yeah,
show
I
up.
agree. There's still there's still a need for this bench to, show something, anything, because I just feel like this year, and this is where this year's team is different. It's very hard. I think, like, obviously, I love these back-to-back championships. It's awesome. It was two of the greatest years of my life watching this. But it's very hard to go from teams like that to a team like this, because they're just completely different teams. Especially the 2020. 22-23 one. I mean, that team, that that bench unit, those five on the bench could have started at 80% of D1 schools. That is your starting lineup at 80%, maybe more of D1 schools. And this bench that we have is just not, and it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And we need these guys to really start stepping up, because if our bench does not show up for us, we're just not going to win these tough games. In the Big East, no matter what other people say, I mean, the Big East is a tough conference, and none of these games are going to come easy now. Um, I mean, I think the only real unbeaten one is Marquette, and they're just different. But no game's going to come easy in this conference, so you can't have the bench hardly showing up. We need this bench to be on its A game every single night if we want to win.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of.
the four
I was just
perimeter
gonna say.
players. Yeah, you can go, Matt. I know
I
we're
was gonna
not.
say. I think that's just kind of like the one negative part of winning back-to-back national championships. You lose a lot of guys because they're all so good they all go pro. So you kind of got to rebuild that. I think that's kind of what Hurley's looking at here. Some of these guys.
I was just going to say the four starting perimeter players, not counting Sampson, they all played north of 30 minutes in this one. Caravan 36, Solo 32, Stewart 32, which off the top of my head has to be a career high for him. I don't think he's played that much in the game. And Diarra 30. I mean, you look at Mahaney, Ross, Noel's in that unit now. Stewart is going to be in that unit come like March once McNeely's healthy. Hopefully everyone's healthy by then. I mean, Stewart can prove tonight he can step up, but he also has games where he doesn't score. I mean, that's pretty much everyone. Mahaney went for 15. He didn't score tonight. Jaden Ross hit a 3. That's something that we haven't been able to rely on as much as we really thought we were going to, especially after seeing him play in some of those cupcake games. Noel, glad to see him back on the floor. Figured he'd get a little run, obviously the Philly kid, but he didn't really, I don't know, he didn't play bad, but it's just like we were losing when he was in, we were losing when he came out. But glad to see him get in. But okay, I'll look at the chat. I think I saw something to bring up. Do you think
I saw one that I want to talk about, and I think you were just about to read it.
It was the one, do you think at the end of the game the two bigs can play together and mix things up? I don't know.
In this game, no,
No.
because Sampson had 4 fouls and Reed had 3.
Yeah.
So if a world happens where, say, we're down by 3 with 2.5 minutes to go, right? Danny rolls out the double big. Reed picks up his 4th, and Sampson picks up his 3rd. You have to be playing that game like it's gonna play extra time. You have to conserve. I feel like that's what part of why Sampson was on the bench, because if you if you lose both of your bigs for if that game were to go into overtime, then you're not in a great spot. So I feel like in a different if Sampson and Reed both had 3 or less fouls, then I would be for it. But you can't with the foul trouble. You can't risk both of them being out there on the floor at the same time just because of that.
I feel like a lot of it comes down to spreading the floor as well, especially if you're coming behind like this game. Not this game. You can't have both those guys out there, especially when someone like Eric Dixon is out there. I think Stewart was the right call because he can get out there on the wing, and he held his own in the paint for a majority of the game, that whole first half. So, I mean, you need guys out there who are going to hit a 3 and cut into a deficit, like in a game like this. I mean, if you're playing against, like, Creighton, I'd say that would make more sense against someone like Ryan Kalkbrenner. But other than that, especially in a game like this with someone like Eric Dixon, the top scorer in the country, you need to be able to be flexible and have options out there on the perimeter.
Yeah, I was thinking at halftime when we were down, I think it was 7. This team's missing a guy, and it's a guy you're not going to get at this point in the season. Maybe someone can develop into that. Hint, someone kind of did. You're missing a guy like that can create his own shot off the dribble, make a 3, make a mid-range. Solo Ball did a bit of that in the second half. He had all 16, but I'm just thinking back. Tristan Newton, even a guy like R.J. Cole. I mean, we don't have a guy. I mean, Diarra can be that, but he's not a guy I'm confident can knock down a 3. He's proven he can at times, but I don't know. It's just we're missing that kind of, I don't know, maybe an alpha dog, a guy that late in the shot clock, he can make something happen. Diarra gets to the free throw line a bit. But I don't know. I mean, he's a great playmaker. He's one of the best playmakers we've had in quite some time here. Obviously, a lot of good competition there with Newton and Andre Jackson, but 9 more assists tonight for Diarra. But I don't know. I feel like they're missing a piece that they've had the past couple of years, and maybe Solo can develop into that. But sadly, I feel like he's more of a catch-and-shoot guy.
Yeah, that's right, Connor. We're missing, if you think back to that Kansas game, I mean, Tristan Newton just absolutely saved us. And he wasn't afraid to take his own shot. Even like a guy like him, a guy like Cam Spencer is someone who we're missing. I don't know. I feel like the DR shots at the end of the shot clock aren't always the best quality, but I'm also just not confident in them, as I was confident when someone like Newton or Spencer would shoot it. But I feel like I agree, we don't have someone who can take the ball and be completely confident in themselves. Like, I'm gonna make a move, I know what shot I'm gonna take and I'm gonna make it. Um and that's just, unfortunately, all college basketball teams aren't the same. You're not going to have any of the same really players, qualities, anything like that. So this team's just different. I think there are a little bit of stronger similarities in this team maybe than others, but I just I think I agree with that we're missing someone who could just take a shot at the end of the shot clock and it would be a good shot, not like an over the backboard hope and a prayer that happens to go in.
I want to kind of bring up something like those comparisons with solo ball, always to Jordan Hawkins, and I sense a little bit of that same Tibbenness in solo ball that I did see in Jordan Hawkins, especially in March. If you remember back to that March run, uh, that first game against Iona, Hawkins just wouldn't shoot. He was like scared. I don't really remember why or like what happened, but he has the ability to rise over defenders and get a shot up. And I mean, he would just be timid about it. And I feel like sometimes Solo is the same way. If you look at his box score, I mean, he shoots 44% from three on the season. It's not bad at all. But this game was 410, 40%, 50%, 77. And then it kind of gets a little weird. 0 of 5, 3 of 8, 1 of 4. And in all these games, 2 of 8, 6 of 17, 6 of 14, his shooting splits are also inconsistent. I feel like kind of the biggest thing with Solo is kind of giving him that confidence that he can rise up and shoot over anybody because he really can. You can't have him out there kind of being afraid to shoot. You need him to be able to just take that shot. And I mean, he hasn't really developed that yet, but he's got a lot of time.
Yeah, it's another consistent game, I guess, for him. Another one where he's scoring around the 15, 16 point mark, which he's been hot as of late. You can't deny that. But I don't know. Him going scoreless in the first half. Caravan, he only had 2 points in the first half. As a team, only scoring 25 in the first half. I feel like we've seen slow starts the past couple of games, especially in that Providence game. This one, you're not going to overcome every slow start. You're not going to overcome a slow start like that when you're playing on the road to Villanova. Even if it's not a Villanova team, like a Jay Wright team with all these NBA guys. I mean, having a guy like Dixon's enough. And other guys stepped up. Wooga Poplar, we know him when we played against him at Miami in the Final Four. He just took some ridiculously contested threes and knocked him down. That's frustrating. I mean, you can live with that, I guess. Like some of the tough threes that they hit, you live with it because you contested and they just happened to hit them. But I don't know. I get upset with poor defense, which we didn't really see too much poor defense, I don't think, in this one. It's just they hit some really tough shots, so you got to tip your cap.
I mean, that's the only real way to say it. Like we said, I'm not mad about this loss, so I wish we won, obviously. But I mean, I said it on our show. I said that if I were to pick one down this stretch without McNeely, that we were going to lose, it would be this one. And does it suck to lose? Obviously. But I feel like this is going to expose, or not expose, like kind of, maybe expose is the right word. But, this team's got to show toughness now, show mental toughness. They did show mental toughness after Maui going 0-3, and now you lose on the road to Villanova. You're going to be the talk of the town on every show tomorrow. I can't wait to see all the comments about Danny should have taken the Lakers job. UConn is washed. UConn's not that good. I can't wait to read them because all those people are just people that see the final score and go right to the comments and just try to piss people off. And this team, I'll tell you right now, is going to prove people wrong. It's going to prove plenty of people wrong. In fact, this isn't the first time I've said something like this. There's a tweet that I could pull up if I really wanted to from when we lost to St. John's. I said, if you're jumping off the ship right now, don't come back when we're holding up a fifth national championship. And what did we do that year? Won a fifth damn national championship. So, I mean, if you want to get off this boat right now, be my guest. We're not going to miss you. But the people overreacting about this loss don't really – I don't want to say don't know ball because that sounds kind of stupid, but it's just not a loss that needs to be overreacted about. Villanova is not a bad team. It was at the Pavilion, which is a very tough place to play. It looked like a really, really good crowd tonight. But I mean, I'm happy with the effort. At least we're not getting blown out. The effort was there to come back, but there's definitely a lot of critiquing to do. That's for sure.
Villanova, they're kind of similar to us. I'm pulling up Ken Palm because I don't even want to know what our defense is. It's still around the 120 range, 123, which I think that's pretty much what it was before the game. But we're number 2 offense, 123 defense. Nova's number 8 offense, number 167 defense. So to hold the number 8 offense in the country to under 70 points, I mean, obviously that's just a metric. Maybe there's better teams than them, but it's saying something. The defense definitely stepped it up, but I don't know. It's a very weird game. It's a game that we all, I feel like, had weird feelings about just because we're without one of our stars. We're down a starter. The bench has been iffy going into it. Who's going to step up? We had a guy like Mahaney step up last game, but no one else did. This game, it was Stewart stepping up, and no one else did. It all comes down to me, the consistency of the bench. It's going to be a really tough game at Georgetown. Georgetown played Marquette really close last night. They ended up losing, but they were up by as many as, I think, a dozen in the first half. Thomas Sorber is going to be trouble for our bigs. We're going to preview that one tomorrow. We're not wrapping up yet. I'm just thinking ahead here. But, yeah, let's pull up the chat again. You guys feel free to comment in the chat.
I just saw on Twitter one of our good friends. I don't know if you're listening or not, but we did jinx it. We said that the last time we did a live stream, or 2 of the last 3 times, it was a loss. And again, it is a loss. So if you want to say that how about them Huskies guys jinxed it, then go ahead and say that. But yeah, we don't have the world's greatest track record for these live streams, but I feel like honestly it's better to talk about losses because I feel like a lot of people get too overworked. And especially in a game like this that was so back and forth that you literally didn't have any idea who was going to win until the final buzzer hit. Exactly like that Seton Hall, or no, not like that one. I meant to say the buzzer beater, but that wasn't the case. But I feel like it's better to do live streams after losses when you don't know, when you're just going to go live no matter what. You got to write down your thoughts no matter win or lose. So I feel like that's kind of better in a way to do this like that.
Yeah, I believe this is our 6th live stream all time. Not all post game. We did 2 full game watches, which the first one we ever did was a game against Marquette. We lost that one. I think we were ranked like 6th or something. They were ranked 25th. We lost that one. We did one with Tyler Polley. He joined us during that Seton Hall game. We ended up winning that one, but that's Seton Hall. We did this. I looked at it earlier. I'm thinking off the dome here. We did a post game show after the Seton Hall loss last year. That was the game Donovan Clingan went down. We schedule these ahead of time. We're not canceling them if we lose, but yeah, like you said, we kind of jinxed them. And then I think we did a post-game win against Xavier, which is our last live stream, and we did a pre-game show somewhere in there as well. But yeah, when we go live, usually it's bad for the Huskies, but we enjoy doing them. We enjoy interacting with you guys, so we're not going to stop just because of that.
The junky thing about this loss is that this was a game that you should have won. I feel like maybe we don't really feel so bad about it because it was right there where Alex Caravan free throws away from winning that. But the schedule doesn't get any easier. Like you mentioned, that next game at Georgetown, 2 p.m., and then against Creighton. I mean, those are 2 games that you could easily lose. So if you miss this game and you lose the next 2, you're kind of looking back at this one like, you could have won that. It might not hurt right now, but I feel like if in a month we do slump and we're having a difficult time, I feel like this is the game that we're going to look at and we're like, dang,
I feel like the fans, yeah, but I don't think the players. I've never been the type of person to think that the players should look back on losses. I think that this game, after they watch the film and take down the film, should be forgotten about because I hate what ifs in sports. What if this happened? What if this happened? What if this happened? Guess what? It didn't happen. And you don't have a time machine. You're not Stewie Griffin from Family Guy. You don't got a time machine. You can't go backwards in time and change what happened in the past. So you just got to live with it and just move on, show mental toughness, and show that you're better than that. If you're the fans, you can say whatever the hell you want. I really don't care. But if you're the players, you don't think about these games like that. Even wins, the Providence game, we escaped, we win. we're on to the next one. Bill Belichick mindset. We're not. I don't know if anybody watching or any of you guys have ever seen the Super Bowl video, but there's a very famous quote. We're on to Cincinnati. What did they do to Cincinnati after they got killed by Kansas City? They beat the living hell out of them. So that's what this team has to be. We're on to Georgetown. You got any comments on the Villanova game? We're on to Georgetown. That's what this team has to be. We are on to Georgetown. Nothing in the past matters.
You said the Patriots and Bengals, and the first thing I thought of that Week 1 game this year, where the Patriots beat the Bengals, and if that outcome was flipped, the Bengals would be in the playoffs, and the Patriots would have the first pick. But yeah, that's not what we're talking about right here. I agree with you. I mean, you got to have a next game up mentality. If you sulk about this one, guess what? You have a game in, I don't even know how many hours that would be, 50-something, maybe 60 hours from now, against a team that's surprisingly one of the best in the conference. I mean, I feel like, I don't know. I don't remember when we said this, but I definitely said it before the DePaul game. With McNeely healthy, obviously, I didn't see a loss in January. We didn't play Marquette. We're not going to play Marquette. We're not going to play St. John's. Obviously, you expect to lose at least one game. I don't see this as a unit that can rattle off 20 in a row or whatever that would have to end up getting up to. But I don't know. It's just reality comes in quickly, I guess, because you lose one guy and you play a very close game in a game you were 15-point favorites against a team that has no business playing close with you, realistically, and then you go on the road to Nova, play very tough and lose. It's just we haven't seen tough losses, I feel like. When we lost last year, Kansas, that was a tough one, don't get me wrong, but the other two were pretty much blowouts, so we haven't really had that narrow loss. I mean, Memphis earlier this year, but the other two out there, or Colorado too. I guess I'm really overthinking, but I don't know. It's just we're never gonna be 37-3 again like last year. That just was very
Yeah,
unrealistic.
that's another point. It's so hard to watch any other team after that team because, in my opinion, and I might get crushed for this, that team is a top 5 team in college basketball history. Just the way that, like, and even Hurley said it after the Providence game, this team is not that team, and that's okay. Like I said before, there's things about this team that are different from last year's team. You don't necessarily want the same team every year because that would be boring. But last year they blew teams out. The game wasn't close at halftime, and you knew it was over. This game is going to take years off your lives, but it's going to be worth it because it's going to be a fun rest of the season. And honestly, I don't want to say I prefer types of games like these, but they're definitely a lot more fun than blowouts. Blowouts are fun in the moment, and then you're just like, oh, now we're up by 30, and this game's just over. But, these games keep you involved, keep you engaged, and that's how all these games are going to be this year.
Got some quotes coming in from the press conference. This is from Dave Borges' Twitter. Hurley on Caravan. When he feels sad tonight, just get off the bus when we get back to campus. And I hope they're not taking a bus. I think they're flying and busing from Bradley. That'd be quite a long bus ride. But when we get off the bus back to campus, just do what I did after Maui. Pull out your box of rings and maybe play with your back-to-back national championship rings and get ready for Georgetown. So that's a funny. I'm glad that they're not all depressed about this. This is another quote from Hurley. I actually feel a lot better sitting in here than I did after the Providence game, even though reality will probably hit when I'm on the bus or the airplane. So I guess that proves they're taking a flight. We were a shell of ourselves against Providence in a home game, and I thought the way we responded, I was proud of the effort. So.
Yeah, I feel like it's not him talking about the championships. I don't think that's like a bragging, like, oh, it's fine, we lost, because I think it's more of like a motivational, like, remember who you are kind of thing, because Alex Caravan is that guy on the court. He's one of the best players in the whole country. And I feel like he just kind of needs to remember that. I feel like, it's easy to get down on yourself after something like that happens. You miss 2 free throws back to back to win a game, but I mean, think about all the good that you've done. You can't dwell over the shitty things that have happened when, you've done so much better.
And he doesn't.
I can't wait to see the comments on that, by the way,
Yeah.
because I just know people are going to be like, oh, he's just making excuses, back-to-back national championships isn't this year. I mean, can we settle down? I mean, he's right. Like, this loss is not the end of the world. We didn't just lose the national championship game. Our season is not even close to over. It's January, people. I mean, that's why I feel like a loss like this is going to be good, because it's going to be a lot of overreactions from a lot of different people, And I feel like the team's going to hear about these overreactions because I'm telling you right now, if there's not I haven't really been checking social media like Instagram and stuff, but I'm sure that some big account is going to post that we got upset and there's going to be people calling us overrated. And I think it's good for the team to see that because they know that they're not overrated. And I feel like every team needs a loss like this. I've never really liked for teams to go undefeated because I feel like losing is important for culture and building of teams. But I can't wait to see the comments on these. These people are going to be so besides themselves and they're not even going to know what to do. It's going to be awesome.
Here's my thing about it. Like people are going to be saying overrated. I might be the only one, but going into this season, I didn't really have any expectations. And obviously, you're a winning program. You have all these fantastic players. But if I said that we were going to come back and win our third national championship and I wasn't even worried about it, I think that would be a complete lie. I mean, this team has to develop, and this is something that you're going to build over years. I mean, you don't build a 37-3 team in 1 year. It's not how it worked. Really built that over the span of 4 or 5 years. So you kind of just got to be patient and trust the process. You've lost 7 guys to the NBA in the past 2 seasons. It's not going to be all cupcakes and ice cream the whole time. You gotta go through some struggle, and I feel like you win back-to-back national championships. You have these high expectations. It's just placing those expectations in the first place is kind of unnecessary. These are like the baby Huskies out there, all these sophomores, freshmen. So you kind of just got to trust this process and hope that in another 3 or 4 years, we're in that same place that we just were, winning 37 games.
Matt is notorious in the early days of this podcast for calling the 22-23 year a rebuilding year, and they ended up winning. So maybe he'll be wrong again.
I did. I mean, that was preseason though.
That was like after a game against Stonehill or something. Like,
it's very hard to have expectations.
Well, that year we only had 2 guys. We had AK and we had Kling, and then the rest of it was figure it out, guys. I mean, I don't think anybody expected Adama Sanogo to be the most outstanding player in the Final Four.
And Hawkins,
Andre Jackson,
sophomore breakout. Yeah, I see what you're coming from, but I just find it funny. I feel like you're kind of making similar comments now.
I am making a similar comment. This one's for real. I feel like I trust Coach Hurley. I feel like he's the best coach in the country right now. I feel like there's no denying that. But
never forget the infamous tweet about how Hurley whiffed on the transfer portal and got a point guard who couldn't play, and 2 guys who couldn't actually shoot the ball, and 1 guy who was just there because he was there. And the guys who couldn't shoot would be national champions, Naheem Aline and Joey Calcaterra. So I don't really take anything that media people say to heart because they're just trying to get clicks at the end of the day. And that's part of the job, obviously. We understand that as media people. But, it's kind of disheartening to see these big – I did just check Instagram, and ESPN posted about it, and there's a bunch of comments and stuff. I don't even want to read them. Oh, yeah. But it's just a little disheartening to see what media has come to and just begging for clicks. It kind of sucks in my opinion.
Yeah, I pulled up the March Madness posted. Half the top comments are ball don't lie. They're saying that was a clean block on Caravan when he was fouled, which I mean they connected they hit chests. I mean it was a clean block, yes, but like he hit him on the way. That's a foul still. It doesn't matter if you swatted it into the 10th row. If you make contact with bodies like that, it's a foul. But I want to talk a little bit more about that whole last minute because that was wild. I gotta pull up like the play-by-play to recollect. Because it started a little earlier than that. That rebound that we almost didn't get, that we almost stepped out. We had to burn a timeout. I don't know if you guys remember that. Stewart was barely in. He had to toss it to Caravan, who called the timeout but didn't want to. It was a very weird sequence. I'm pulling my box score back up. ESPN app loves to lag at the perfect time. But yeah, we had literally 4 or 5 opportunities to get a shot, and it was a little frustrating. I don't use that word often with this team, but I mean, Diarra caught the ball. It was maybe our 3rd or 4th look. Diarra caught the ball. He had an open 3. I mean, he's not the best shooter, but an open 3 in that situation when you need quick points or a quick shot at least, you almost got to take that. But he pump faked, had a perfect driving lane, but backed out and then drove and got blocked and they didn't call the foul, but it was still our ball. And then obviously the jump ball situation there too. It's just usually you don't get 4 or 5 chances, and unfortunately we couldn't convert on any of them. We got to the free throw line, which I'm surprised they even gave us after they didn't give us that Diarra call. But I don't know. I feel like you gotta have a little more sense of urgency in a 1-point game with 25 seconds left, because you're not holding for the last. You shouldn't hold for the last shot, in my opinion. Because say you miss a shot with 18, you can foul them. They make both. It's still a 3-point game. You got a shot. I feel like we were looking for the last shot, and we more or less got it. Just didn't convert.
I feel like Diarra passing up that three. He passed up that three, drove in, and took a circus layup. I mean, if he took that shot, if it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, you still have like 15 seconds to work it out. Him passing up that shot to me was kind of weird, especially because he always takes that shot, always mad about it. So I would have liked to seen him take that and kind of step up there, but what are you gonna do, right?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Also, just hard to take the last shot. There's a lot of pressure on that, especially late game free throws to win the game. Like a lot of these people that comment on something like that, they've never been in a big situation like that, and it kind of shows. Is the expectation to make the free throws? I would say yes, because it's a free shot. But like to say that the Caravan should be benched for not making them is just it's completely foolish, and it's just simply not true.
Who
And
said that?
Barstool UConn posted "Get ready to learn LinkedIn" with a picture of Alex Caravan. I mean that's awful. That's awful. It's terrible. I mean, you think he's going to be happy seeing that after bringing this school 2 national championships and losing a regular season conference game on the road? I mean,
It's friendly fire
come
too.
on, people.
I could see like opposing fans saying that, but like obviously
No,
Barstool's not like
the Barstool
associated.
UConn account posted
It's
that
Barstool's Barstool. I don't really care.
and is
But
since deleted it, but man, is he getting flamed.
yeah, he had a good look too. Poplar missed the last free throw. He had a time to like take a dribble and heave it. Obviously, you're not expecting him to hit the Jalen Adams range 3-pointer to win the game, but I was surprised they even gave us that good of a look. But yeah, what else can we really talk about? We have how many people we got in here now? We're up to 18, but not many comments.
21,
So
I see.
you got 21 now. Yeah, feel free to comment stuff for us to talk about, because I don't know how much longer we're going to go, but we want to talk a little bit more about this game. We like talking about what you guys want to see, so appreciate your
People are asking if we're going to be ranked. Yes, we are going to be ranked.
Yeah. If you don't go
we'll stay
unranked
ranked.
after losing to 3 straight unranked teams, I don't think you're not falling from 9 to unranked. Maybe not even maybe if you lose to Georgetown. I feel like just if they left us in that long, they'll leave us in the 20s somewhere. But
Against the
This loss
top
too.
50 team on the road in the
This
Big
loss isn't going to
East.
be that bad at the end of the season.
No.
It's not gonna be
a
that
loss
bad.
that's looking worse is that Dayton one, though. They lost to UMass tonight, I'm pretty sure,
Yeah, right.
after losing to
Wow.
G-Dub. I could be wrong, but I saw something like Dayton's in trouble.
I'll double check that right now.
They were losing, and I think I saw in passing on Twitter a Rothstein tweet.
Let me see. Oh yeah, by 4.
Yeah, they lost. UMass is not a good team. They're not. That's not good.
Wow.
We're still digging
George,
6 of 20,
You're
putting up
too.
an Eric Dixon stat line. Same exact line.
Yeah.
3 of 12 from 3. That's funny. But yeah,
St. Bonaventure Cinderella run is over.
they lost.
They're down by
defeated.
14 to St. Louis. Love you, Woj, but that's unfortunate.
Richmond, they lost. Apostolus started 11 points in 30 minutes,
Let's
3
go.
threes.
I love that. Get
That's
some
good to see.
positive on this night. There's also so much more to think about in terms of the whole team. Like, I feel like people tend to overreact. Like, yeah, did we lose a game that we probably should have won? Yes, we did. But there's a lot to be happy about with this team. The women's team just absolutely blew out Xavier. Tyrese Martin, after being in and out of the NBA, is proving that he's absolutely an NBA caliber player, averaging, I believe, 7 points a game this year. Andre Jackson is playing a lot of minutes. Jordan Hawkins is back playing. Tristan Newton is playing with his new team. Cam Spencer is playing. Like, there's so much more to be excited about than just what just happened. And I feel like that's what a lot of people need to kind of realize is that there obviously people have a right to feel whatever they feel about this game, but there's so much more to be excited about with in terms of the University of Connecticut basketball. The Paige Becker's injury news was not as severe as we thought. So all these negative comments, man, it's not the end of the world. It's a basketball game, you know?
Yeah, Tyrese Martin tonight. The Nets are down 30 to the Pistons, which they probably prefer at this point because they want to capture the flag potentially. Tyrese Martin, first career double-double. 12 points and 10 rebounds and counting. Not sure if he's still in the game in the blowout, but making his, I believe, third or fourth career start. He's really having quite a resurgence in Brooklyn. I know we're off topic now, but yeah, I'm really happy for that because he's a guy that had to work his way into the NBA. He was drafted, but he played sparingly for the Hawks, didn't play at all in the league last year. Caught on with the Nets in the summer league, made it to the preseason roster, got a two-way. Now he's starting they're very injured and they're trying to lose. But that's a great opportunity for a guy like that to step up. Really happy to see him averaging 7.6 points per game.
You show the league that you can score. You can say what you want about them tanking or trying to lose. I don't think he's worried about winning. He's just worried about proving himself. And, maybe a good team will pick him up and put him on their bench. Just anything can happen when you get that opportunity. He's making the most of it.
But he gets paid.
Yep.
Yeah, that too.
I'm going back to the chat here. A couple more. We came back from 12 in a very tough environment without our best player. Held the number one score to 5 points first half. And had a chance to win at the end. We will be back. I don't think they're going. I don't think they've gone anywhere. It's just a tough road loss, but I agree. We've touched upon that. On-campus Nova is different than Wells Fargo. Maybe Caribbean just needed to be in front of 20K, and he would have sank those. Maybe. I don't think that matters too much. But it's definitely a different environment going on the road. That's probably the smallest arena we'll be playing at on the road this season. I don't think any Big East team plays like in a little on-campus one like that. I mean, DePaul's isn't huge. We already played them, though. But the rest are pretty much like NBA.
Dunk, yeah, they're all Dunk, MSG, brain fart, FISIV Forum.
Big East has an underrated amount of NBA arenas that they
right?
use.
Ours is Hartford is one of the smallest ones.
Yeah. It is.
XL Center is a glorified NBA arena, almost.
It's what is it? 14,000?
15, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now I'm curious. Oh, Capital One is also an NBA arena.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just curious to see what they had the attend. Yeah, 6,500. Wow,
that's crazy. What the heck?
And that place was full to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets loud.
And Wesley Matthews said it perfectly during the Villanova DePaul game. That place, it was going to be a zoo. I mean, it's different than just playing in a Wells Fargo Center. Obviously, on-campus games are different than off-campus. But that place was a zoo. I could tell it's very hard to win road games in this conference. And we showed toughness. I saw that comment in the chat. Like Connor just said, we're not going anywhere. But, I mean, yeah, if that's what the moral victory that you want to take, then sure, coming back on the road is very good, especially in an environment like that.
I feel like saying McNeely is our best player, though, is pretty bold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's start that dialogue. Who is our best player?
He's we have the big three there. I'd say out of the three, he's the most talented.
If you had to rank our players from 1 to whatever, who's 1?
Oh,
probably
gosh.
AK. You got to say AK. It can't be anybody else.
I mean, yeah.
In my opinion.
You have to. And this is going to piss a bunch of people off. But, yeah, you got to say AK. You can't say anybody else.
To me, that's chalk. I don't know. I'd say
it's a good thing there's no clear one, but at the same time, it's not ideal. Probably. I agree. You have to put AK there just out of respect, but
AK and then McNeely and Solo. From there, I'd take Haas.
So I'll change the question to say McNeely's healthy as well. You're down by 1 with 20 seconds, like we were. Who do you want taking the shot?
Caravan.
The guy who's proved that he could hit it.
My mind doesn't change. Or Solo.
I'd
Solo's
almost lean Solo. Obviously, it depends on the hot hand of the night. In that game, I would have liked to see Solo get a look because he's
Caravan. He's done so much to prove that he's had that shot. I mean, remember this ridiculous, ridiculous run of buzzer beaters? I mean, everybody knows the famous at the end of the half against Miami, Jordan Hawkins had his hands up before Caravan shot the ball. I mean, there's that. There's the two buzzer beaters he had against Texas in the Empire Classic last year. He's made so many big time shots to win us games or complete games. I don't know how you say anybody else. Just because the guy missed 2 free throws doesn't completely desecrate all the success he's had. Like
we got Solos in the chat.
couple Solo or AK. Yeah, it's
Solo,
definitely a
that
debate.
color. That shot
I mean,
against
I'm not going
Colorado.
to say that I don't want Solo to take it, but I would lean with the guy who's proved that he can hit that shot time and time again.
Yeah. He's your best, most consistent shooter. I feel like if it's a 3, I feel like you're going with AK.
Hey, thank you, Hugo Perez. We appreciate that. Thank you. And I feel like there's just been so much negative in this night.
I don't think it's as negative, especially in the stream. I feel like the vibes are kind of
Yeah, there's
It's
a
kinda like
lot
whatever.
of negativity on social media.
a
But
lot of. And that's the whole thing. They're trying to piss you off, Andrew, and it's
Oh, yeah.
working.
Sure for you.
And it's working.
What else is there really to touch upon? There was one set that we definitely have ran before this, but it's the one where Caravan catches it and then Sampson cuts for the backdoor dunk. We ran it very early in the game. We ran it again in the second half. I'm not the biggest. I know there's a bunch of people out there that like study our sets because Dan Hurley and Luke Murray and Kamani, they're all masterminds, but that's one that really caught my eye. Sampson's a guy who's really. I feel like we kind of bashed him in the last episode. I know, Matt, you weren't there for that one, but a bunch of the comments were like, hey, stop bashing Sampson. He didn't do that bad, which he didn't. He just doesn't get rebounds. It is what it is at this point. Terrace is the rebounding center. But Sampson had a nice hook shot tonight, I believe. He might have missed it. I remember him taking it. But he's really developed into more than a lob threat, which is good. We're really going to need that because he's a guy who I feel like you almost expect him. He only had 6 tonight, but I almost expect him to get double-digit points, which I definitely did not expect last year out of him coming off the bench. But, yeah, definitely a massive leap for him.
Here's my thing with Samson. I wasn't there, so I didn't really get to speak my part. But I think that at times he's a little bit of a liability, just like any big man, unless you're like Wemby or something. But having the majority of your sets come with him at the top of the key, especially in important moments, if the defense isn't respecting that, then what's he doing out there? At certain times, it's just like if you need buckets, I feel like you can't have either of them. I feel like Terrace and Sampson just sometimes are not the answer. Sometimes you got to run AK at the 5. Sometimes you can run Stewart at the 4, McNeely at the 3. There's ways around it, but you need guys out there who are going to make shots and are going to be offensive threats. And at times, I feel like neither of our bigs are offensive threats. But there was a comment on that video in specific where Sampson is kind of a run creator, and I definitely see that. At the beginning of games, the score will be like 4-0 or like 6-2, and then Sampson will just get a huge dunk, and everything will just kind of change, and the place will blow up. And I feel like you're not getting that with anybody else on the team but Sampson. And there's a time and a place for everyone. And
That Gonzaga game. Yeah. Gonzaga game, he had 2 dunks early on. Unfortunately, he went down, but that was looking like a breakout game. Yeah, he always seems to score pretty early in the game for us. And I feel like you mentioned, obviously, it's hard to have either of them on the floor. I feel like the way this game was flowing, if McNeely was healthy, I think we'd see stretches without either of them on the floor. Because if you have Stewart guarding Dixon, there was a significant period of time where Dixon was there acting as their 5-man. So if Dixon's acting as their 5, which he can do, he's done for the past couple of years. This year he shifted to the 4. But, I mean, you would have Stewart guarding him. Why would you have Reed or Sampson guarding a perimeter player? I think you'd go small there. But I'm also curious. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. We went with Stewart on Dixon, but Stewart's not starting this game or playing nearly as many minutes, most likely, if McNeely's healthy. Where do we go there? I mean, would it have been Caravan? Would it have been McNeely? Obviously, it doesn't matter. It's an afterthought. But I don't know.
I was thinking
Oh,
about
either.
this. I was thinking about this. Like, like this is also why I'm not that mad about this game because you started Stewart, and I feel like you got that sort of McNeely production out of him. I feel like you got everything you needed out of him. If Stewart came off the bench, is he going to be a 14-point guy? No. This was a competitive game, and I don't know what would have really changed outside of that. I mean, Stewart, you got a lot out of him, but I mean, how much are you really going to expect from that bench if, say, McNeely is there?
Looking at other Big East scores, DePaul, they were up like a lot against Seton Hall, and they lost to Seton Hall in overtime. They were up by 15 at halftime and lost to the 2024-25 Pirates. That's DePaul's not looking. I mean, they haven't won a Big East game, and I think it's now 670 something days. And I don't know. Providence up 12 against Butler right now. I doubt Hopkins is playing. No
Now
Hopkins.
I'm upset about social media.
Why?
A certain someone who got beat at the XL Center, who doesn't have any rings in college, tweeted out "Ball don't lie." And does anybody want to guess who that is? If you know me, you know that I am not the world's biggest fan of this person.
Got beat
Did
in
he
college.
get called for the charge by chance?
He might have gotten called for a charge that was a charge,
And maybe a
I
jump
may
ball
add.
before that?
And I knew he would say something. I mean, I knew it. You had to have known that it was coming. That's the only reason why I was mad that we lost, because I knew that stupid Colin Gillespie would say something.
It's their Super Bowl, man.
It really is, which is crazy to say. That's just where Villanova's at. Their
It's
last
like every
win,
time.
their last win against us was in the Big East tournament in 2022, that's now 3 seasons ago. That's they killed us every year. Even we
Every
played
time.
them when we were in the American. We played them in non-conference a couple times. I think it probably 3 times and got killed all three. But
Every time we lose, it's like I remember that we lost to Dayton, and they made that video, or that TikTok about it. It's just like, geez, uh, if that's what it's like to everyone, then got to be doing something right.
I'm just looking on Twitter looking for something. I'll pull the chat back up too. We're probably almost wrapping up. Not too much more. Just say I
Any
feel like
final questions or
yeah. Last call for questions.
comments?
Stewart was really good defensively tonight. He stuffed Dixon twice. Yeah, I mean that's something we haven't really seen out of him too much. I mean we know he's a guy that can maybe knock down a three here or there, which that shouldn't be his role. He's definitely a more talented player than that. But yeah, defensively he really stepped it up. I'm sure he was proud to have this assignment. Maybe caught. I don't know if he'd be a little caught off guard, but I thought for sure that we'd see Aiden Mahaney enter the starting lineup. Obviously, wasn't the case, but Hurley seemed very torn between Mahaney and Ross for that Providence game. Stewart wasn't even really in the equation, but clearly Stewart stepped up. And I'm not surprised that Ross started over Stewart because Stewart, he's fine in spurts playing like next to Caravan and a big, but he can play the three, but I feel like he's more developed into a four, which he was guarding the four Dixon tonight. But I don't know. I forgot my point. You guys can chime in.
It was about time.
Yeah.
That's all I really got to say about it. It was definitely time for him to kind of slot into that starting role. Ross out there is do hit or miss. I feel like with Stewart out there, you kind of know what you're getting, and I mean, you got it tonight. So hopefully, going forward, you can kind of see that and could continue running that hot hand.
I mean, it's also very tough for a guy, to be in the starting lineup, someone who hasn't really started before, who's been in the same role really all year. Jaden Ross kind of in that Providence game proved that he didn't have it, and tonight Jalen Stewart proved that he did have it. He played fantastic. Like our guy in the chat just said, he stuffed Dixon twice, which was really nice. That was awesome to see. But I feel like if he starts these next games without McNeely, I think he's going to really start to click. And he's going to become way better than he already is. But I feel like that's something that's going to end up being forgotten because the main talking point is going to be the missed free throws. But Jalen Stewart is a very, very good basketball player. And I feel like not enough people truly know that. And I feel like most of them got introduced to him today, which is kind of sad because he's a fantastic ball player. But he just, I mean, the way he played tonight, look, you would have thought he was a fifth year. He was playing like a veteran, wasn't afraid to shoot the ball, wasn't afraid to go up and block Eric Dixon, the nation's leading scorer. So I really loved the way he played tonight.
Yeah, another stat. Alex Caravan, 151 free throw attempts in his 2.5 years at UConn. Want to guess how many times he's missed 2 in a row? It's one now.
Zero.
First time he's missed 2, and that's not just trips. That's just like that even counts. You miss the second, and then you miss the first the next time. He's just been automatic in his career. That's just, I don't know. I'm not holding anything against him. Anything else in the chat? Last call. Really wish GR would have pulled that trigger on that 3 on the inbounds pass, but I guess they just wanted to kill clock. That is what it seemed like they wanted to do, which I disagree with. Once again, I don't get paid the big bucks, but I would try to use as little time as possible, which they did on one of those looks, the one that ended up in the jump ball. It was a quick inbounds pass to Caravan. He went up with it. It was deflected, I think. I think it was by the same dude. I'm blanking. Was it Longino? I'm pretty sure it was Longino.
Yeah, it was Longino.
He was involved in both block plays. But, yeah, if they went quick there, I don't know why they went away from that strategy. Maybe Nova expected it. I don't know. But let me pull up my Instagram, look at those comments, and then we'll be done.
Boy, this is going to be fun. I'll look at them too. Let me see.
One of the comments says, refs had bad calls or no calls. Hurley had a quote that said he thought the reffing was fine, which we had more fouls than them, but I don't think there were really any missed calls.
But I feel like that's an argument that shouldn't be ever said, like the whole more fouls thing, because
I agree.
In a game like this, we did have more fouls in them. No, I didn't think the refs were bad. And I feel like the people that constantly say, look at the foul difference, look at the free throw difference, that's not something you can go off of. I mean, unless it's completely outlandish, like 25 fouls to 2 or something like that, and you can clearly see it in the game. But I don't think that saying the amount of fouls that a team had versus us, or like we had more fouls than them, that means the rest were terrible. That's not a valid argument actually at all.
Yeah, I saw another comment as I'm plugging in my laptop. It said, you don't lose the game in the final 30, you lose it over the 39 minutes and 30 seconds before that, which that's very true. Like, I mean, it's not like we were winning the whole time, and we ended up falling. We were down 12. We went on an 8-0 run, I think, to cut it to 4. It stayed around that 4 range for a while, then we finally got back on top. But, yeah, I have to agree there. You don't lose a game based off of those 2 free throws.
Shouldn't put yourself in a position where the ref's call might change. Like, it's never valid. You always have to kind of play like it is the last 30 seconds. So
yeah. I think we're just about done here.
Yeah, we've gone like 40 minutes. Like
we've gone almost an hour. We started a little after 9 because of those technical difficulties, aka me starting and ending the stream in 1 second, having to put up a new one. But you guys still found the new one, which is good. But yeah, do some closing remarks here. I'll ask you this on the live. You guys good to go tomorrow to record a Georgetown preview?
Yeah.
I am.
So we will record a Georgetown preview tomorrow. I'll post it tomorrow night. Big game for the Huskies. It's not a must-win, but to go 0-2 after how we started the Big East play and how we've played since Maui would be really deflating. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in to this live stream. We'll definitely try to do it more often. Last year, our last one was like literally this time. January 10th, I think, was our last one. We didn't do another one.
Was it the Xavier one?
It was.
Or was that after a pregame show?
That might have been a pregame. So I don't know. The last postgame we might have done might have been that.
Are we 0 for 3 on postgames? Is that what it is?
We're batting under.
Let me check.
We're under 500. We're either 0 for 3 or 1 for 3.
Postgame? Oh, boy, we are. Yeah, we have done now 3 post-game lives. They have all been losses.
We're used to this.
Final comment, which if this is true, I mean, it says we covering stat, question mark. 21-point spread. The
No.
line is
Who
not
cares?
out. If
Who
it's
cares?
a 21-point spread,
You're not
Who
covering that.
cares? That's what I want to know. All these people are some of them are just mad that they cost your parlay. Nobody cares about your parlay. Grow up. Come on.
They're not covering that.
I don't think that's real because I don't think they'd
You
have
can't
the
handle
lines
losses.
yet.
Don't bet.
But
That's what I say.
all right. So I don't see any more comments trickling in. Thank you all for tuning in. This is definitely. I'm glad we did this because we've definitely grown as a channel in the past year. I'm glad to see. This definitely has to be like a record number. We hit somewhere in the high 20s at one point. Probably concurrent viewers, probably close to 50, which we've never hit in a live, I don't think, before. So yeah, we'll definitely. I don't know when the next one will be, but you guys will be the first to find that out. Maybe later this month. Definitely at least once more during the regular season. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, tuning in, and I'm going to figure out how to stop this. It could be right away. It could